Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another Monday night podcast. Tonight's podcast is going to be focusing on apostrophes. We're going to start out by doing some of my own slides that we're used to, and then I'm going to switch to a video. I apologize, it is not a video like we're used to in terms of the singing. I know how much you love that. But we're going to do something a little bit differently. Okay, so apostrophes. Um, Apostrophes, the most common time that we use apostrophes is with contractions. We use an apostrophe and a contraction to show that a letter has been left out. So examples: don't, do not. I think I'm supposed to be able to highlight something over here, but I guess not. Sorry, just trying out this new way of recording Monday night podcast, so you just get to discover it with me, and I'm sure you really care about my monologue right now. So for example, for don't, when I put my apostrophe right here, I take out the O for the do not. Won't, I put my apostrophe between the N and the T, taking out the not, the O as well. It is, it apostrophe S. The apostrophe in this case is replacing the I, and I'll, I will. In this case, the apostrophe is replacing the W and the I. I don't think he'll, even remember we've talked about it, I don't think he'll, H-E-E, I could have said he will, even remember we have talked about that. Okay, so contractions. The other time that we use apostrophe is to connote possession. For singular nouns, we add an apostrophe and an S. So for example, a chisel is a sculptor's most important tool. So sculptors referring to possession. Chisel is singular, right? Singular, right? So therefore, sculptors is apostrophe S is kind of like a singular possession. The bus's horde was blaring. In this case, horde is singular. So the bus's horde, apostrophe S, which we're, by the way, when it comes to S at the end of the word, we're going to discuss that in a video that you're going to watch shortly. Okay, so just to review, with possession, we add an apostrophe S to show something that it's belonging to. Then we also have plural nouns. For plural nouns, ending in S, add just the apostrophe. So chords are composers' building blocks for melodies. For example, normally I could have written like this, right? Because we're talking plural, composers, right? Because chords, right? Chords, C-H-O-R-D-S. The fact that there's an S over here is connoting the fact that it's plural. So I could have said, okay, composers, S apostrophe S. However, this rule is very important. Whenever we're dealing with plural and there's an S at the end, all we need to do is add an apostrophe at the end, and voila, you have plural. So chords are composers' building blocks for melodies. Let's continue onwards. And then we just have regular plural. For the few plural nouns that do not end in an S, like men and children, we add an apostrophe and an S. So men's department, children's book. So men, you may argue, but apostrophe S was the way that we do plural possession. True, but men, by definition, is a plural world. Children is a plural world because child would be the singular and man would be the singular. But in order to make this a little bit clearer, we're going to actually watch a fun video right now. I apologize, it's not singing, but just sit tight and listen. Oh, I probably should press play. Sorry.
Is it a flying comma or a quotation mark chopped in half? Either way, you may already be well versed in how to use the apostrophe, but here's a quick refresher on its usage. The apostrophe can be used in three ways: to mark possession, to mark contraction, to mark the plural of single letters. Most of the time, if you see an apostrophe hovering helpfully near a word, it's trying to mark possession or contraction. First, let's look at how the apostrophe marks possession. As you can see, the placement of this punctuation mark can really change the meaning of a sentence. Those robots in the sand are my sisters. Those robots in the sand are my sisters. Those robots in the sand are my sisters.
It's me again. Now, I want you to try to add on a post-it, I want you to please write why, in this case, we took out the apostrophe and we just put sisters. What does that mean? So let's actually look back at the screen. These robots in the sand are my sisters. Why do we not have an apostrophe anymore?
When showing possession, the apostrophe belongs next to the noun that owns or possesses something. The noun can be singular or plural. Proper nouns work too. So if Lucy needs to get her robots under control before they cause mayhem, those dangerous creatures would be Lucy's robots. But what if Lucy was Lucas? Would we write Lucas robots or Lucas's robots? And what if Lucas gave his robots to the Robinson family? Would it be the Robinsons' robots or the Robinsons' robots? The truth is, even grammar nerds disagree on the right thing to do. The use of apostrophe S after a proper noun ending in S is a style issue, not a hard and fast grammar rule. It's a conundrum without a simple answer. Professional writers solve this problem by learning what's considered correct for a publication and doing that. The important thing is to pick one style and stick with it throughout a piece of writing. One more wrinkle. Certain pronouns already have possession built in and don't need an apostrophe. Remembering that will help you avoid one of the trickiest snags in English grammar, its versus its. Its only takes an apostrophe when it's a contraction for it is or it has. If you can replace its with one of those two phrases, use the apostrophe. If you're showing possession, leave it out. Otherwise, contractions are pretty straightforward. The apostrophe stands in for missing letters and lets common phrases squash into a single word. In rare cases, you can have a double contraction, though those generally aren't accepted in writing, with the exception of dialogue. So, it's possessive. It's often followed by S's, and it's sometimes tricky when it comes to its usage. It's the apostrophe.
Okay, and we're back. Okay, so I hope you really enjoyed this fun unit on apostrophes. I would like you, in addition to that post-it, which you had to write about why sisters with that roboting example didn't have an apostrophe in that last example, I'd like to also to do put a little 2 stars on the top of your right source page, which you will find out on in class what pages you have to do. This is Mrs. Kurtz signing out. Cha-ching. Cha-ching, I'm trying to still fess up.